Hi guys, today we'll see about Git ignore and Git config. So let's start. So why do we use Git ignore? Suppose we are working on something and there we do not want to commit all the changes to the repository and some folders that we do not want it to be in the repository and we want to ignore it. So Git can be configured to ignore the certain files and directories for repository operation. This is configured via one command, or we'll say a file .git ignore. So this file is located in the home of your or root of your Git repository. So let's say I have a project in my workspace, invoice 1.0. So I have built classes. This all things are there. Class files are generated. So I don't want to use. I don't want to send in the repository this class files. I want to ignore this class files while I am building it. So just for the convenience, I'll just copy these two files and place it onto test2, I think. Okay, so I'll initialize it Git. So now I just want to ignore this file. So what I'll do, I'll just touch Git ignore. So this creates a pop. Before I also have to initialize it. So here you'll see a file .git. So I'll say him build star. Ignore all the files present in build star. Correct. So I'll just add all the files and we'll cheat. Okay. Again. Something is created here. So before pushing, I need to add more repository here. So in that case, it's blog, I think. This one. I'm just copying in the command. Okay. You'll see there are lots of problems, and this is how you can resolve it. In the coming time also you'll see lots of issues coming up here. So let's just see how we resolve those issues. The origin is the name that I have given, so I am pushing using that only. So now here it will throw some error. I'll tell you why it's to throw an error. See here what it's saying. Failed to push some refs to HTTP updates were rejected because the remote contains work that you have not local. This is usually caused by another repository pushing to the same requirements. You need to integrate the remote changes. This is most important for us. We need to integrate our remote changes. Okay. So for that we need to do a pull. Okay. So I'll say git pull because my source and my repository and my local is not in sync. It's showing this error. So for taking it to again, it will throw another, I think, because there's some stage files there. So for this you can do a git stash. Okay, now we can pull it. Yes, already up to date. So I'll show you what this git stash does. See here the git documentation. Often when you are working on a part of project, things are in messy state and you want to switch branches for a bit to work on something else. So you can temporarily, you do not want a half commit to commit it and just to get the work done. So you just can go back to this point later. So for this I'm just saving my unset changes in a state. Stashing takes the dirty state of your working directory, that is your modified track files and state changes, and sets it onto a stack. Okay, this is how stashing works. And you can read the documentation to get a clear view of what does this stash does. You can have a stash list. You can go to stash list and just apply it in stash. Okay. You can apply and reapply at any time by using this command. So this is what stashing does. And at some point of time you are not sure I should commit or I should not commit. I have things messy out of here. I have half commit, half done things. So you can just stash it. And you can view the stash as well. Git stash list. Okay, this is my stash. So yes, where we were. So yes, now my source and my local is in sync. So I will just issue in command git add all. Okay, git. I need to configure the git ignore. Okay. Yes. And git commit and then so I'm pushing my objects. So I'll go back to Git repository. I like Mozilla, so I'll go with Mozilla Muter. will not save the password. So you can see here src folder is only reflected in this repository. The build folder is already ignored. So this is how we can see here build folder is ignored. So you can set any number of ignore configurations and just go ahead with that. Now we'll talk about I forgot a command to show you. Suppose you are in the middle, you want to see which all are the files that are ignored. So you can just add this command and this will show. It's not showing right now because I'm not going to add one. Okay, let's see command. We'll see it in the next session. Web content, ignore it for now. So next one is git config. So we can configure some of our username, some of the parameters by default in git. Okay, so git configure, there are several git configuration labels that you can configure. You can configure all of your git settings and all. So a more specific setting overrides the values in the previous level. Suppose there is a file known as git config in etc directory of Linux. It is created, it stores all the configuration related details. So if you want to add user configuration, git allows you to store the user settings in .git config file. This is the global git configuration. For example, git stores the committer name, author, etc. in each commit in that git config. Okay, and this additional information you can store in git user settings. So git config, we'll see how it works. You can configure your username, you can configure your password, you can configure git config. Global username, git config, global password, right? Oh, sorry, email, you can configure email as well. You do not need to write emails, usernames at every time. It will automatically take from configs. Okay. You can set the colors of what is it? Config list. here. You can configure all of these things. You can configure the branch by default branch. You can configure the colors. The div, there is a div 2. Git config div, you can use kd for anything you want. Git config global color.ui.auto, you can configure that as well. You can configure the editor. You can configure like this: git config global is it code or editor or something like that. It's in Linux, so you can have code log in Linux. You can have this code editor. VIM, you can use it as well. Here also you can use. You can set the default merge tool, global merge tool, because as it is a bash shell, so you can do everything that is related to Linux, that is valid in Linux. Okay, kd3 if you want to use it as well. If you are using Ubuntu, then you can use sudo install kd3, something like that. You can get the list, you can get the global list as well. Okay, these are the things that you can do with this. So this is what I consider JIT status as well. Yes. So thank you guys, thank you for liking the video. Thanks.